guys? You got your local ham sandwich here with an updated Centur-Ion deck profile. This will be a pure Centur-Ion deck. Now I'm getting a lot of requests for some deck profiles of different versions. With LEDE coming up, I think pure is probably just the way to go. So I'm going to do a little pure deck profile here and discuss the changes I'll make post-LEDE. I've already got the cards lined up to pick up. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to sneak peeks, so I don't have them on hand, but I'll discuss the changes and all that. Let's get started here. So starting off with the main engine, I'm not going to go too in-depth here because this hasn't really changed all that much. But of course you got your 3 Primera, the 3 Trudea, 3 stand-up, basically all your starters here, with the 1 terraforming of course, and then 3 Emblema, playthrough hand traps. I am on 3 Bonfire now, just to maximize my starting capability. That's 15 starters. I think the math is something like 92% to draw 1 of these in a 5-card hand. So just want to maximize on that. And then in terms of our non-starter engine, I am on 2 Emmet plus Bonds and Phalanx. Of course, this will change slightly, but I'll go into that after I go through the whole deck profile. If you've been watching the channel, you know how these cards work. Not a whole lot to go into here. But yeah, that is going to be the main engine. Really liking the consistency. Obviously with that percentage, you don't always draw full consistency. Sometimes you'll draw multiple starters without hand traps, which kind of sucks if you can't interrupt your opponent, especially in Snake Eye format. But you do what you can, especially going first. I think it's just really good to have a really good consistency in your starters. So for the non-engine, we've still got plenty of space. I think it's probably like 20-something non-engine spaces, so this is a hand trap heavy format still. The Banlist did nothing to pure Snake Eye, so we do have to play a lot of hand traps. We got 3 Ash, 3 Nibiru. I'm opting for 2 Droll and 1 Veiler. I'm not sure if Droll will be phased out again. I know initial discussion was that it would be back in the format since FK was supposed to be the best version of the deck, but obviously if you watched anything from YZ's Raleigh, it seems like pure Snake Eyes is still the best version. So these 2 Drolls may become the second and third Veiler, or they may become 2 copies of Mourner in the main deck. And then of course we've got the 3 Emperor. And then for non-hand trap, non-engine, we've still got plenty of space here. That's 12 hand traps. I'm opting to run 1 breaker in the main. That's 3 droplet. I think this is probably the most generically good breaker. Obviously you can run Super Poly, which I do in the side deck. You'll see that in a moment here. But I think for just all matchups, Droplet is probably going to be the best version. And also going forward for LEDE, I think Droplet's really good against Tempai, and you really have to have your main deck outs for Tempai, unfortunately. And then in terms of our other space, I've got 1 Talents, 3 Crossout, and Called by the Grave. I've been playing this deck a lot, and I really hate when Primera gets ashed and I can't do anything else. So I have the space for Crossout. It could be an extra hand trap, but I feel like Crossout is a better defensive play, which is why I'm also running Droll now, because post-LEDE, we play more into Droll with the Bonfire, the Primera, and the Auxilla. So I feel like Crossout's pretty important. Called by the Grave just as important. Talents is just, I had 1 slot left, so I threw in a Talents. That'll change again once I go over the post-LEDE changes at the end of the deck profile here. And then we'll finally get into our extra deck. Of course, in Shiny Quarter Century Secret Rare, we've got 3 Legatia still. I still run 3 because every time I run 2, the 3rd one comes up. I feel like it's just nice to have these for the grind game. Usually you don't want to grind out a game, but if you have to, you have your resources. And of course, since we're playing 12s, we've got our Crimson Dragon. We have got, of course, our boy Hot Red King Calamity, which did not get hit on the ban list. Thankfully, that gives this deck so much more power in this format. It might get hit on the next ban list. I'm sure they didn't hit it just because Centur-Ion got the new support, but we'll see. And then for the other Crimson Dragon target, the Blazar. And then the final 12, I haven't really summoned it much, but I feel like it could come up, especially if Flu gets more popular. I'm putting Final Sigma back in the deck, just as a towers to summon against something like Flu, especially with their Forgotten Winds continuous spell card. Kind of sucks that they contribute over all your things. So if you have to summon a towers and just sit on it, then that's what you gotta do. Plus we have an extra space now because Baron was banned, So we just have the Sigma in here that might get cut. I'm not so sure yet, but we'll see. And then for our non-12s, we only run 110 now. That's the Chaos Angel. Without Baron, I'm not remaining Bestials. Chaos Angel is just there because we run Chaos Archfiend, which is a lot easier to make post-lead with the level modulation of Gargoyle and the token creator. And then for 2 other 8s, we've got Pack Bit, which is still a good non-Centur-Ion Centur-Ion card, and our Scarlight for Time. Also good just to break boards if they have no effect negation. If you want to make an 8, you can totally do that. It's just nice to have that utility. And then finally for the non-synchros, I am opting to run the Artemis with SP, just to make SP live if I get stuck on Primera and like Trudea, and I don't want to go into a level 8. It kind of depends on how the game is looking. You can make Artemis and then make SP's Banish effect live, which is pretty nice. And then, like I said, we're running Super Poly on the side, so we got Mud Dragon, we got Garura. I think I mentioned before that you could use these as synchro material, which Garura you definitely can if you want to go into Chaos Angel with like Primera, but it's not so important now that these need to be used as synchro material. It's just you want these as your breakers, especially post-lead. Like I said, Tenpai and the Fire decks, these hit either one, most generic ones. And I think they even hit Yubel if Yubel is an issue. Obviously we make a bunch of large monsters, but if they summon a bunch of cards that will just do the damage back to us, that kind of sucks. So that's it for the extra deck. Let's go into the side deck. All right, now taking a look at the side deck here, just looking at some other hand traps that I don't have in the main, putting them in the side. We have the 3 Ghost Mourner and 2 Ghost Ogre. I think for this week before lead, Ghost Ogre may not be as important, but it can still hit FKI, it can hit the Fluandereeze field spell, it can hit the Kashtira field spell and the continuous spell. It can even hit like a Dark or a Hita, because they would lose that lose the arrow that they need to summon to. So it still has some application. I think post lead is a lot more important because you got Nightmare Throne, you got Tenpai, Sangen Summoning, all the new field spells. Even in the mirror match, if you can Ghost Ogre Primera when she's about to summon, and Auxilla doesn't have the protection on board for this week at least, that's really good. But obviously post support, Ghost Ogre becomes a lot harder to use against this deck because Auxilla provides further protection for your back row, and stand-up is already protected while you control a Centurion monster. Moving on to spells, like I said, Super Poly. I think having Droplet and Super Poly is just good to have interchangeable breakers. Could run both in the main, but I like the hand trap heavy idea, especially with cross out. You can always swap Super Poly out for either your Droplet or your Nib. This deck doesn't really play in a Nib as a pure variant, so you can really side out Nib safely and not have it as a cross out target, and it's completely fine. So you have a lot of versatility in your breakers. And of course, stun's still going to be an issue. So we've got 1 Feather Duster, 3 Cosmic. I was also against the field spell decks with they go second. Cosmic is going to be a life changer, so you've got 5 ways to hit those when they go second. And then evenly for another option of a breaker without the negation of something like Baron or Warlord Savage. Obviously breakers become more important. If your opponent has SP, evenly will kind of make that shotgun itself, which is okay. You can just set up your board without having to worry about SP getting rid of your tuner too early. So just good to have this versatility. That's it for the side deck. Let's go ahead and discuss our changes post lead. So in terms of what we change with the new set, Legacy of Destruction, there's not actually a whole lot to change from this build. I kind of laid out the cards here. I don't have the new cards on hand yet. I'll be getting those tonight, but I'll put some images up on screen if you don't know what the cards look like or what they do. Very simple. Obviously run the 2 Emmet. You want to run 1 Emmet, 1 Gargoyle post Legacy of Destruction. Gargoyle is a lot more versatile in terms of actually making your plays to make your synchros, but Emmet can be decent protection or dodging or whatever what have it here. Only on your opponent's turn, unfortunately. But if you use Wake Up to send it to grave, it's just a good option to have, or if you hard draw it, you still have that option to tag out, which is fine. The one talent, like I said, it was just a one slot that I had left in the deck, but post Legacy this becomes Wake Up. Wake Up is a really good combo piece. It makes it so you don't have to always go into your 8s this way through Trudea or through the field spell. You can always search Wake Up first before you search Stand Up, and then Wake Up has a really good ability in the graveyard that can allow some shifter combos where you can banish it to send Bonds. Bonds will banish itself when you synchro summon to get everything out of your grave, and you can shifter then. Speaking of shifter, 3 Mortar on the side are going to become 3 shifter. Obviously you can main shifter, but with maining Droll, Veiler, and Droplet, shifter kind of conflicts with that, so I'm opting to run shifter in the side post Legacy. Obviously that may change going forward, which you may see in some of the feature matches. And then I've got 1 Legatia and the Sigma here. Either one of these could become Auxilla, or you can run 2 Auxilla. Most likely I'm cutting 1 Legatia for Auxilla. Also in Beautiful Quarter Century Secret Rare, got that lined up already. But you could run 2 Auxilla. I think in the future, especially post Info with White Woods, there's an argument to run 2 Auxilla. But for now, I think I'm just going to cut 1 Legatia for the Auxilla, and we'll see how that works from there. But yeah, that's all the changes I would make post Legacy. Post Legacy, if you guys want to see any combo videos, let me know in the comments. I can certainly do that for you. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment below if you want to see the combos, any other deck profiles. I've already got Yubel cards lined up to build that. I've got the Chimera cards, trying to find those to build that. Or if you want to see any deck profiles from my friends in the feature matches, I can certainly see if they want to do that. Excuse me. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe. See you in the next one.